Hi, I'm back with another art project today. We are going to be painting rocks. There's lots of ways you can paint rocks. I've heard of the Kindness Project, where you paint rocks full of inspirational quotes or sayings. I've heard of people using rocks to paint words for their gardens, and they use them as garden stones, which depict what plants are growing, like basil or tomato or things like that. They might paint a little tomato on one, or just have the word tomato and set it by their tomato plants. Or you can paint just different pictures. Today we are going to paint a mandala, which just means simply circle. And the mandala that we're going to paint, we're going to use all different kinds of household objects to do it. We're also going to turn our mandalas into something. Mine's going to become a flower in honor of Earth Day. That's coming up. I used a stone that I found just outside of my house, and I think you guys will be able to find some too. The first thing obviously that you need is the stone, so take a walk outside and find a stone. And I found this nice flat one that we're going to use. I washed it off first. And then you're also going to need some paints. I just used these acrylic paints right here. Any color will do, doesn't matter. But they do need to be acrylic paints so that they stay on your stone. You don't want to use watercolors for these. I just like these little Craft Smart ones. They're very cheap and easy to find. And then to seal the paint on our rock, I used Modge Podge, although you really don't have to do this. I just wanted a shinier texture. So if you have a little Modge Podge at home, that's kind of a nice thing to use. Some of the items I used to paint these really cool circles, this circle design, are a Nerf gun bullet, the top of it. If you guys have one of those, that makes a really nice circle. The end of my paintbrush makes a really nice circle. These are just ideas if you have these things at home. Q-tips make nice circles. You can also even take an end off of a Q-tip to make it a different size circle. You just peel off some of the nice cotton off of that. Can make a smaller circle. And what else did I have? Oh, I have this nice paintbrush. I use the bottom of that. You can use that. Toothpicks make nice tiny little circles. These nice little toothpicks if you have toothpicks at home. And actually I start by drawing a circle, which is not easy to do. So I got a quarter and a dime, and I can show you how to start drawing a mandala. Now, for younger children in preschool ages, you can simply do a dot design using all of these fun, different items to make dots. And you can cover your rock in dots, and they'll turn out just beautiful. Today I brought my 3 boys with me into my kitchen to make these cool rock paintings. Come on over, boys, and say hi. And they'll show us their rocks at the end. This is Nicholas, Jake, and Matthew. And they'll show us their rocks at the end. Everybody's going to do something different, just to give you all a little bit of inspiration. All right, boys, go ahead. So the first thing, the other thing that you'll need to start with is a paper towel. We are going to wipe the different things off that we have. And you'll need a pencil. I have a white pencil, but a regular graphite pencil works too. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is paint my rock black. You can use a sponge brush if you have that. I'll do both just to show you. You can use a sponge brush that'll really get down in there. And then I'll have my son wash this brush off for me, because we're going to use it later too for our Modge Podge. All right, Jake, can you wash that out really good for me, please, honey? You might hear the water. He's going to rinse it. Or a regular paintbrush will do as well to get kind of down in those cracks and crevices of the rock. Now I don't do the underneath of my rock. I just do the sides a little bit. And I guess you guys need to see that. That would be nice. I just do the sides. But I don't really do too much of the underneath. We're going to set it down anyways. Nobody will see the underneath of it. And I just cover it black. You can use white or black. I suggest using either white or black because then all of your colors that you choose, thank you honey, will really pop. Okay? So after that, I'll give you that, Jake, to put in the sink. After that, we have to let this dry a little bit. So in the meantime, I want you to pick out your color scheme. Today, I am going to use pink. And I'm just going to kind of duplicate this as much as I can, even though my rock for today, even though my rock is a little bit smaller than I'm going to paint right now. I'm going to use pink. I'm going to use a little bit of turquoise. Put this down so you can see. It doesn't take a whole lot of paint. I have a little paint left in there from yesterday. Can you hand me the green, Jake? I'm going to use the green, the light green. I'll put a little bit of the dark green in. I need some white. Matthew, can you hand me the white? Thank you. And I think I need that blue, Jacob. And I should be set with my little painter's palette. If you don't have a painter's palette, you can always use a paper plate that you have at home instead of the painter's palette that I have. A paper plate will work just fine. In fact, you can see that I'm using a paper plate to protect my kitchen island, just to set my rock on too. You can also always set your rock on your paper towel. And be careful, everybody roll your sleeves up. You definitely don't want to get this paint on your clothing because it will stain, unfortunately. Okay, so by now you have your color palette ready. You have all kinds of little things that make circles ready. And you are ready to start making a mandala or any kind of dot picture that you would like to make. I'm going to start my mandala using an outline with this quarter, actually. It's going to help me stay within my circle. So I'm going to place my quarter on there, and that's when I'm going to use my white pencil. If you have a regular pencil at home, you can use that too. And I'm just going to lightly trace around that to give me kind of a guideline of a circle. I'll take it off, and then you can see that little circle on there. By the end of this, you won't even know that's there. Then I'm going to put my dime right in the middle of this. Now, these are just suggestions. You don't have to do this. You can get started right away with painting your rock any way you want to. This is just, I'm just showing you simply how I started painting this rock, and then you can go for it on your own, however you'd like to paint your rock. So once I have those circles on there like this, those are going to be my guidelines right here to start my mandala, okay? So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to put this down as much as possible so that you can see what I'm doing, is I'm going to start with my bigger circle, which is my Nerf gun, and I'm going to, in this picture right here that I did my turquoise, so I'll try to stick along those lines, but I might stray a little bit. It can be a little different. I just dab a little bit of paint onto the end of my Nerf gun like this, and I come into the middle, what I think is the middle, and I'm just going to dab that Nerf gun right in the middle, okay? Then I don't even have to wash this Nerf gun. I can just use one of my paper towels to wipe the end off. It'll come off pretty easily like that. And then you're good in case you want to dip it again into something else later, okay? So I start with that, and then what I like to do is use, I think I'm going to use my medium-sized Q-tip. I'm going to use my Q-tip here. see where I put it. I'm going to use this Q-tip right here. And I'm going to use my blue. And this is the Q-tip that I took a little bit of the cotton off of. And I'm almost going to make like a cross. I'm going to put one on either end, one dot on either end, and one dot on either side. And it's going to help me know where I want to place my other dots so that they look a little bit even. Okay, so they're going to be pretty even. Now do them across from each other each time. And that's the start, okay? Then I'd like to come in, and I think I'm going to use my toothpick for this. Try to put this rock in here too so you can see it like that. Then I'll come in here with my toothpick, and I'm going to do some pink dots on the sides of my blue dots, okay? Just like that on the insides. Just like that, okay? And then I'm going to turn this toothpick around and use white and come in and do some white dots. And look how bright the white is. And they're right above my pink. And if you notice, something that's interesting about mandalas is that they are filled with patterns. And I know some of my kiddos that watch these little art projects that I do know all about patterns, because we learn about them in school, in math, and in art class, actually. Okay, so I have the start. You guys can see what the start of this looks like. It's already looking pretty beautiful. And then I am going to switch back up to a regular Q-tip that I didn't take anything off of here. And I'm going to come through and do some bigger pink dots. So I just dab my Q-tip lightly into the pink, and again I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to turn my rock ever so slightly so that my first pink one will go right on the next white circle line. One in the top. I always start one at the top, one at the bottom, one on each side of the circle. And that is how we start our mandala, just like that, okay? And now I'm going to come through and I'll do the diagonals. Diagonal on each side. And that's good for that one. Then I'm going to come back. I want to take a little bit off of this one. It looks like I already did. And I'm going to do some white dots in between each. In between each one, I'll put a little bit of a bigger dot, bigger white dot. Not quite as big as my pink. But almost as big, like that. And that's how that looks so far. Now I'm going to stop here for a second and show you one that my son has started on, and I'm going to give him some helpful tips on how to make this look even more exciting. So Nicholas, come over here for a sec. So let me point this down towards him. He started off using a bunch of different colors. And now my tip would be for him to say, okay, you have a lot of nice, big, beautiful dots with the different colors. Let's take something smaller, like the end of your paintbrush, and we would dip them in our black, since he painted his white. So Nick, you would dip this into your black, and you can start filling in some of these areas with black, or you can go right on top, giving them some black dots in the middle, okay? Making it look a little more interesting. And then, Nicholas, I would pick a color that you didn't use, like maybe blue. Come in with your toothpick and fill in some little teeny dots, making some more patterns with your toothpick. Okay? This looks nice. I'm liking it so far. Okay. now we'll get back to mine. And some more things that we're going to add. I am going to get another toothpick out. And in each pink dot, you can see right here, I have a little green dot with my toothpick. Let's see if I can add that to each one. Some of these aren't too dry yet, so we'll see if it'll work. And this is how we layer our paint in a fun way. Let's get a little bit of that. A little more on there. Might have to come back for that one to get a better dot. It's not quite dry. We can come back and fix that. Okay, once I have that, I'm gonna come and get my toothpick, and I'm gonna put black on it here. And right above, or not black, I'm sorry, blue, my nice bright blue. Right in between each of my pink and white dots, I'm going to put a teeny little blue dot, which I know might be difficult for you to see. I'll hold it back up for you in a minute. And then I'll come back over and get my white dots ready. And above each pink big dot, we'll get a white dot. Who knew that just by using the same circle, just different sizes, you could create something so beautiful. Now I'm going to come in, and I think this time I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush because we haven't done that yet. And I'll come in and add bigger dots in between my two white dots. We're just making pattern after pattern after pattern. And then I'll come back, I'll wipe this off. And then I'll come back over and I'll pick up my toothpick with my pink dots, and I'll come back in and I'll add a little pink dot on either side of the little white dot. We'll be working our way around it. And it's a little bit tedious, but the end result is awfully pretty to look at. And now I need to dip one end of my Q-tip into my pink. And I need to come over and put that right here, right in the center. And we'll wait for that to dry a little bit. Now this rock, I'm not sure that I have room for a stem on it like I did on this rock. This rock has a really pretty stem that I did, but I'm pretty sure I can fit a little leaf that goes down the sides. So what I will do is find my little Nerf bullet again, and put this in here. And I'm gonna make a leaf that comes off. Let's see, we'll make a leaf that comes off this side first, okay? So I'll do my light green and we'll start with that big circle first. And I think I'll come over to this. Let's see if I have enough room over on this side. I'll try this side over here. And you can see I'll do two little leaves, one on either side. Okay, wipe that off. Wiping that off. And then I'll come and I'll get my darker green, and I'll probably use my darker green and my white, and I'll use the end of my paintbrush again, and I'll start making a leaf shape. And I'll just come down and a leaf shape is just a pointy oval. And I'll come over here and make a pointy oval. Okay, 2 little pointy ovals. It'll start to be our leaf. And then I will come in with my white. I'll fill in between with my white. Come back over and do that over here. It gets a little tricky when your rock bends down. And I'll wipe this end off because then I'm going to come in and do a little bit of my light green wherever I can fill in the space. Okay, there's that. And then I think my little leaf can use a white center. We'll see if I can get a nice white center, a little smaller than what I have on each side. And you'll see that we made another really pretty flower, just a little bit of a different kind here on this particular rock. When this is dry, you'll know it's dry because it'll look flat and matte. That's when you'll know that it's time to paint your Modge Podge on it. And I'll show you how to paint the Modge Podge because I'll put another layer on my rock that's already finished. So we'll let this one dry. When it's fully dry, we'll pretend that this rock hasn't had Modge Podge on yet. When it's fully dry, I just come over, I give my Modge Podge a little shake, and I just use any kind of brush will do. I'll use my little foam brush today, but I just dab it into my Modge Podge lightly, and you just do a light coating, and what it does is it just seals that paint on there for you. Then if it rains on it, it'll just wear a little better. Your rock will wear a little bit better. So I just come around, and anywhere that there's paint, just put a little layer of Modge Podge on there. And I always tell people it's good to let Modge Podge dry for at least 24 hours before you leave anything outside that has it on. Okay? So that is my beautiful mandala rock painting. Now I want to show you what my kids are working on because they each did something a little bit different. And they just did dot paintings, not a mandala on their rock, which kids of any ages can do. Adults can do these too. They're really fun, and they make really cool gifts. You know, you can just stick one in somebody's garden or somebody's yard for a little surprise. You can put one down below somebody's mailbox, so when they come out and get their mail, they see this beautiful little work of art. It's nice just to cheer somebody's day up. You never know who might be having a rough day, who needs a little cheering up. All right, I'll bring the boys in so we can check out what they've been working on. All right, Nick, since you're sitting right here, I'll bring you in first. All right, this is Nick's colorful rock. Over here, you can see all the different colors. Let me bend this screen down a little bit. This will be fun to find in your garden. And we'll put his Modge Podge on as soon as it looks dry. Jake, do you want to bring yours over? Jake's shaking his head like he doesn't really love his, but this is the first time my boys have done this too. So Jake did some designs and looks like almost like pointillism where he blended some of his colors. Matthew, let me check out what you're working on so hard over here. Matthew looks like he's doing a sort of mandala rock. You see here. Wow, Matthew, you've been working hard. Here's Matthew's mandala rock so far. Hey, that's a good job, buddy. I like his color choices. Some of my favorites. I love blue. My boys do know that about me. So I hope everybody has a good time doing this, and just remember that next week is Earth Day, and we're going to try to keep our earth nice and clean and beautiful, and one of the ways we can beautify our earth is painting some of the beautiful rocks we find on it. All right, guys, have a great afternoon and have fun painting rocks.